Hidden Contracts and Hooks, Part 2. So hello everyone, today we are continuing the topic of contracts and agreements, those invisible deals we can unknowingly make with the dark forces in exchange for our energy. In the previous video, we looked at unconscious contracts, the ones made when we hand over control of our life to someone else, when we stop being the owner of our path and pass our health, our money, the control over our destiny, even our personal life, to some external force that begins to manage it for us. This happens when a person refuses to take responsibility for their own life, when they want someone else to carry that responsibility. And of course, in this position there are always plenty of dark entities ready to accept that responsibility, because the more control they have, the more new burdens they can place on a person. So that life becomes heavier, more painful, less successful, because what they want is energy. If you haven't seen the first part, watch that one. It explains the basics of contracts and agreements. Today, I want to talk about another kind of contract, the kind that is not obvious at all, the kind we also enter unconsciously, and yet these are the contracts most people live under every day without even noticing them. These are the contracts we make with the dark, but I call them hooks. Not even contracts, hooks. They are situations in life where for some reason we understand something about ourselves incorrectly, some internal block, some belief, some phrase, some moment that becomes a hook, something that catches on to us again and again, preventing us from growing, from feeling happy, from feeling needed, and causing constant inner suffering. One common type of unconscious agreement is when we accept some belief about ourselves, something like, I am ugly, I am not good enough, something is wrong with me. We look in the mirror and think my face is wrong, my hair is wrong, my body is wrong. And as long as we believe this, even if 1,000 people tell us the opposite, even if they tell us we are beautiful, pleasant, attractive, we still insist inside that they are lying or laughing at us. Maybe sometimes we agree on the surface, but we don't believe it. And every time this topic comes up, we feel a storm of painful emotions inside. A deep suffering that comes from believing something is wrong with us. This too is a form of contract, because many truly beautiful people sincerely believe they're awful, ugly, unworthy. This example is simple, but hooks go far beyond appearance. Hooks about worth, success, and identity. These unconscious agreements, these hooks, don't just make us believe we are ugly. We can hold beliefs like people like me never succeed. I am a bad person. Something is wrong with me. No one wants to be friends with me. These beliefs are poisonous, toxic. They prevent a person from functioning in society, from revealing themselves, from stepping out into life. And often these beliefs aren't visible on the surface. They live inside, in our inner dialogue. They appear when we face a challenge, when we try something new, and suddenly we feel blocked, uncomfortable, ashamed, afraid. There are many common examples of such hooks. Beliefs like I am incapable, I will always live in lack, I am ineffective, I am trapped, I always fail, I can't do anything right, I can't control anything, I am helpless, I am a loser, I am powerless, I am inferior, I don't measure up to others, I am weak, I am useless, I am vulnerable, I am not good enough, I am a victim, I am worthless, I am unbearable, I am bad, my life is meaningless, I don't deserve to live me, no one can love me, I am different, I'll never please anyone, I am unpleasant, I am not lovable, I am unattractive, no one wants to be around me, people will always reject me, I will always be alone. All of these are hooks, deep beliefs that we might not even be aware of, but they pull us constantly. When life presents a situation, these hooks fire automatically. They block us. They tell us who we are allowed to be and who we are not. As long as we believe these things, we cannot move toward a better version of our life, because these core beliefs shut down the brighter timelines, the paths that would lead to a better job, to success, to fulfillment, to what we truly want. And here we're not talking about some glamorous version of success, the fake narcissistic marketing version. We're talking about simple, meaningful things a person wants to see in their life. Everyone has their own inner sense of what success and happiness mean. For one person, it might be living quietly near a lake. For another, building a career in a noisy city. For another, writing a book. For someone else, sports, or starting a small business, or growing a garden. Each soul has its own direction, its own dream, but when we live under these negative hooks, we are not living our own life, we are living the life programmed into us by others. Hooks are not our true voice, they come from outside. All these beliefs didn't come from our soul, they came from outside, from people, from environment, from situations, from old pains. Sometimes we think these beliefs are us, we think they are part of our personality. But they are not. They are the result of earlier moments where our inner dialogue was shaped incorrectly. Moments where someone said something and we believed it. Moments where we gave silent agreement. For example, we think about improving our life, maybe changing jobs. And suddenly the inner voice whispers, where are you going? You can't do that. What if you fail? This is not for you. Stay where you are. And these thoughts run in circles endlessly. This is the influence of the hooks. And these are the programs pulling on us. And they pull exactly at the moment when we try to grow. Just like fingers plucking a piano string. You reach for something good, and the hook gets pulled. No, not for you. You're worthless. Stay small. This is how the system, the matrix, keeps us in place, not just through external influences like magic or manipulation, but through internal hooks that limit us from within. The cage that holds us is in our mind. The prison is the belief system we swallowed, and through these hooks the energy is extracted from us. Whenever we try to rise, the suffering activates, and that suffering feeds the dark 13 Curry 31. How to find these contracts inside yourself. So, in order to deal with these kinds of contracts, the very first step is simply to stop believing them. But before that, we need to actually find them inside ourselves. And this is where many people struggle, because these agreements are buried deep. They're hidden in our reactions, in our automatic thoughts, in the small emotional spikes that appear in daily life. One of the best ways to discover them is through the technique of free writing. I have a whole video dedicated to this method. It helps you capture all these unconscious programs, these hooks that you're living by without even realizing it. When we catch one of these beliefs, the next step is to look directly at it. For example, the belief I am ugly, or I am worthless, or I am bad. We look at it and ask ourselves, where did this come from? When did I start believing this? What was the situation that created this? Because somewhere in our past, there was a moment when this contract was signed. Maybe someone told us something cruel. Someone said you're ugly, you're disgusting, and in that moment, we believed them. We internalized it. We accepted their words as truth. We signed the contract without knowing it. And now, our task is to return to that situation, to see it from a different angle, to understand that the person who said those words might have been driven by envy or malice or their own pain. They wanted to hurt us. That's why they used those words. It was never an objective judgment of our worth. We need to reevaluate ourselves, to look in the mirror again, to reassess our inner value, to ask whether this really reflects reality. Is it true? Am I really this terrible, worthless person? Or was this belief built on someone else's intention to wrong me? And when we see that the belief is false, we must begin resisting it. We must say no. Why should I think of myself as worthless? Why should I accept that I am ugly or bad? No, I am good, I am strong, I am valuable, and inside, a feeling begins to grow, a powerful emotion, a rising inner strength, the feeling I call righteous anger. Righteous anger, the beginning of breaking contracts. Righteous anger is not the destructive anger that makes people lash out. It is a higher vibrational form of the same emotion. The part of anger that protects us, that stands up for our dignity, that says, I won't tolerate injustice toward myself. It is the inner declaration, this is wrong, this hurts me, and, and I refuse to accept it. This anger becomes the foundation of resistance, the spark that rejects the old contract. Because breaking these contracts is not a passive process. It's not just sitting and wishing for change. It's an active internal rebellion against what has been imposed on us. I also read your comments, and many of you asked important questions. One person asked, how can I break a contract if I don't have enough willpower? If I have too many fears? This is a very common situation, and the truth is, those fears themselves are also contracts. They were pushed into us, implanted the same way. Fear of responsibility, fear of making decisions, fear of being wrong, fear of being imperfect. All these fears serve the same purpose, to keep us from taking our life back into our own hands. In the previous video, I mentioned that when a person has given away control of their life, the only way to break that contract is to reclaim responsibility. Not just to say the dark has no right to control my life, but to say from now on, I am responsible, I take control. My health is my responsibility. My money is my responsibility. My choices are my responsibility. And for many people, this is extremely difficult. Because taking responsibility means admitting that the place where they are now is a result of their own past actions, their own agreements, their own choices. And this is hard to face. It's much easier to believe that someone else brought them here, that life just happened to them, that they are victims of circumstances. But ignorance of the laws does not free us from responsibility. When a person refuses to accept responsibility, they enter an illusion. They calm themselves by thinking everything is fine. But the truth remains their life is the result of their own participation, or conscious or unconscious. To overcome this, we need faith in ourselves, and willpower begins with belief. People who start breaking these contracts begin to feel a sense of inner strength, a spark, a growing sense that they can do it. The role of resistance and the return of inner power. The first stage of real inner work is resistance. The moment when a person says, I don't want to live like this anymore. I don't want to be controlled by these beliefs. I refuse to continue feeling worthless. This resistance is essential. It's not the resistance of a victim. It's the resistance of a person waking up. When internal protective mechanisms awaken, righteous anger rises. It pushes back against the hooks. It breaks the rhythm of the program. It disrupts the old pattern. Then comes the next step, feeling your strength. If a person struggles to feel that strength, they can explore why. What is blocking it? What hook? What memory? Free writing can help uncover it. Asking yourself questions can help uncover it. And many people shared with me that when they joined the Sunny Club, when they met others who understood them, something changed inside them. They felt supported, they felt seen, they felt accepted, and suddenly their confidence grew dramatically. Because support from others is powerful, we may try to rely only on ourselves, but as humans, we are social beings. We seek understanding, connection, belonging. When we are surrounded by people who say, I feel the same, I've been through this, you are not wrong, you are not broken, you are on the right path, our inner strength multiplies. This external support helps us believe in our inner truth. It stabilizes our inner core. It helps us reject the hooks, and it gives us courage. I remember that in my own journey, meeting even a few people who saw what I saw, who felt what I felt, grounded me deeply. I no longer felt like the odd one out. I felt confirmed, validated, strengthened. When one person sees something, it's easy to doubt. When 10 people see it, the doubt disappears. The need for external support and inner stability, even though I always emphasize how important it is to listen to yourself, to follow your own desires, your inner needs, your own direction, there is still something there very important that cannot be ignored. And that is the fact that we, as human beings, are social creatures. Science says it in simple terms. We are a herd species, and whether we like it or not, we all need connection, community, understanding. We need an environment where we feel seen, accepted, supported. We need people who understand us. People who can say, yes, I feel this too. I know what you mean. I've been there. This support from the outside is extremely important, especially when our inner core is still forming, still fragile, still gaining its strength. Because when we are alone and everyone around us thinks differently, doubts start creeping in. We start thinking, maybe something is wrong with me, maybe I'm imagining things, maybe I'm overreacting. And if we already carry fears inside, if we already have these hooks, these painful beliefs, then external pressure only intensifies them. But when we enter a space where people are similar, where people feel the same things, where they understand us, then our inner core becomes stronger. We feel that we are not alone. We feel that what we sense inside is not some kind of mistake, and this gives enormous inner strength. Many people who joined the Sunny Club told me exactly this. They said that at first they were shy, afraid to write, afraid to speak, but then they found like-minded people. They opened up, they shared their feelings, and through this, their faith in themselves grew dramatically. This is why such spaces are so important, not because the club itself is magical, but because human support is powerful. When someone listens to you, when someone says you're not crazy, you're not wrong, what you feel is real, this lifts you up from inside. And I remember this very well from my own life. I was lucky to meet people who had similar abilities, who also saw things, felt things, people I could talk to openly. If I hadn't met them, even briefly, I might have doubted myself far more. But just knowing that others saw the same, felt the same, remembered the same kinds of things, that alone gave me confidence. Because if one person sees something, it's easy to doubt. If two people see it, it becomes stronger. If 10 people see it, it becomes undeniable. Big difference when fear blocks the breaking of contracts. There was another question in the comments. Someone wrote that their fears and lack of belief interfere with breaking these contracts. And yes, this is true. Fear is one of the main tools that keeps these agreements alive. When a person tries to fight alone, they feel like they're being thrown into an open sea during a storm. They feel small, overwhelmed, isolated, helpless. But when they are not alone, when there are many others standing with them, the atmosphere changes completely. They feel protected, supported, held. They feel that they are part of a group, a team, and this gives courage. This is one of the reasons why external support is such a powerful factor in this inner work. It strengthens the inner resistance. It helps a person break free from those old beliefs. It helps them confront fear instead of hiding from it. Because fear is also a contract. It was implanted just like the other beliefs. Fear is a hook too. It stops us from stepping forward, from taking responsibility, from saying I can. When a person feels supported, those fears soften. They lose their influence. They stop making the person freeze. This is why I always say we need both inner work and outer support. Both matter. Both shape the strength of the inner core. The confusion about written contracts, paper agreements. Someone also wrote that everything I say is nonsense. That contracts are everywhere. That we get passports, sign apartment contracts, sign documents for land, sign paperwork for international travel. And that since contracts exist everywhere, there's no point trying to break anything. This logic is rooted in perfectionism and idealization. It's the idea of all or nothing. Either everything must be perfect or we shouldn't even try. Either we remove every single contract or there's no point removing any of them. This mindset itself comes from deep-seated beliefs. It is one of the hooks, because the moment a person thinks if I can't do it perfectly, I should not do it at all, they become paralyzed. They give up without even trying. And this is exactly how the dark matrix catches people. Through ideals. Through the illusion of perfection. through the idea that if you are not ideal, you are worthless. If you analyze many of the beliefs I listed earlier, you'll notice that almost all of them come from this obsession with an ideal. No one wants to be friends with me. No one likes me. Everyone rejects me. This is the same pattern. Either everyone must love me, or I am unworthy. Either everyone must accept me, or something is wrong with me. This black and white thinking is one of the strongest hooks of all: paper contracts and spiritual reality. Now, about the physical paper contracts, passport, legal documents, signatures. People asked how real they are, whether these documents have any spiritual influence, whether they bind the soul. I've answered this before, but let me say it again clearly. A piece of paper cannot bind the soul. A legal contract cannot hold a soul. The soul is beyond these things. A paper can be torn, thrown away, used in the toilet. It has no power at the level of consciousness or soul. The only agreements that affect the soul are deep soul level traumas, the ones connected to past lives, moments of extreme shock, moments of unresolved karma between souls, moments of the devastating emotional or physical events. Those are extremely rare. Most people will never experience such things. Everything else, the everyday small internal beliefs, I'm worthless, I'm unlovable, I'm ugly, I'm not enough, all of this simply falls away after death, because the soul never believed it to begin with. But during life, these beliefs prevent the soul from unfolding fully. They block potential. They suffocate inner strength. They misalign body, consciousness, and soul. They create a desynchronization, a split, a limitation. And through this, energy is drained. This is why breaking these internal age small contracts is so important. Finally, about the incarnation contract. There was also a question about the incarnation contract that the plan a soul receives before descending into the physical world. This is not something written with a pen. It's not a literal signature. It's more like a life plan, a blueprint constructed in the upper realms, something the soul agrees to experience and learn from. I explained this in detail in the video about the office, how the soul receives a certain structure for its incarnation. But all this has nothing to do with earthly paper documents. That's all I have for now. If you'd like a separate video about paper contracts, maritime law, passport, and all of that, how real they are spiritually, how much influence they have, and my personal perspective, then let me know in the comments. I'll gladly cover it. I love you all. I hope you, until next time,